Hello, welcome to the Pedestal Society. My name is Braille. I'm going to let a moment for everyone to get into the room from Instagram to YouTube before we get started. Y'all give me just one moment. One moment, one moment, one moment. Okay. All right. I didn't know if we were even going to be able to go live because in North Carolina, currently, we're under some type of storm watch. So bear with me if the connection, we lose it. It is because of the storm in the area. And I probably won't be back if it drops the connection. So I apologize if that happens. But I'm going to jump in. If you've never seen a live stream from me before, my name is Bro. Welcome to the Pedestal Life Society. Welcome, Whitney. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Instagram and YouTube. Today, we want to talk about behaviors that kill attraction with high quality men. So let me go ahead and give my little list that I have for this conversation today because this is so important. Thank you, Whitney. Hey, Joy. First of all, men already have a predatory side to them. However, they are men who have chosen to live a predatory life. So when women think that they can outsmart the predator or believe that she can control a man, I will never forget growing up as a young woman, my grandmother taught me this. She said, men are like wild animals, Braille. And I've never forgotten it because that has helped me to understand that the more that you try to control a wild animal, the more control you get under that, the more control that they have over you. So you do not and never want to control or try to control a man. This type of behavior kills attraction with high quality men. Let me tell you what happens when a woman tries to control a man, because I don't think women have thought about it in this manner. They don't think about the bigger picture when it comes to trying to control a man. When you try to control him, this means maybe you're the type of girl who told men that he needs to be at home by 7. Okay. So when you try to put that control over him and you try to hold him or adhere him to that rule, this means this leaves the opening for you to be controlled because you have to sit around and wait for 7 to make sure that he adheres to that rule. You have to sit around to see if he's going to show up at 7. So when you try to control a man, it's the equivalent of trying to control a wild animal. And so women should never try to control a man. This kills attraction. This kills polarity. I know your next question is going to be, then, Braille, how are we going to get some act right in men? And I'm going to tell you, when a man is illogical about you and he feels deeply, he will put control over himself. I've never ever had to create these rules in order to get my husband to adhere to them because I know the more rules I give him, the more control that I release over myself. And I refuse to be that girl, to be that woman. And so he puts rules over himself. He decides or makes sure that he's home by 7 because he wants the relationship to thrive. He makes sure he checks in and calls to make sure that I feel secure. He's doing these things willingly. Go out here and say you have to do these things, or I'm not going to be. I don't have to put any type of rules or control on a man. When you realize that a man is similar to a wild animal, and the more that you try to cage them, the more that you try to control them, the more that you try to deny freedom to them, the more that they will act out and they will have more control over you than you have over them. So the very first thing, and we're actually going to keep to some numbers because I'm in a number mood. I feel like some numbers would help in this conversation. So number one is never try to control a man, because if you try to control a man, this means he will have more control over you. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, do not try to impress men with things. Women who try to impress men with education, resources, and things kill attraction with trying to impress him with things. Because when you're trying to impress him with things, you're trying to impress him with things that he brings. And that is not attractive. That kills polarity, that kills the attraction. And I'm not saying that you can't have things. Absolutely not. I'm never going to be the woman that tell you that you have to be broke to be loved. Okay. I'm going to tell you that instead of trying to impress him with your education, with your degree, with your resources, with your 401k, with the things that you bring, I want you to come and bring yourself as a woman. Be a woman to his man, and that will keep the attraction and polarity going. That is gonna be the juicy point, the attraction, the bonus points that are gonna be the extra things that you bring. The education, the resources, the 401k, the business, the mansion, whatever you bring, whatever is attached to you. But if you bring a woman to a man, you're gonna have attraction and polarity. But when you bring what he has and what he's bringing to himself, you're gonna become a peer. So do not try to impress men with things. Those things that you've accomplished, I'm proud of you. He's proud of you. He's going to be so happy to brag about the things. Okay. But that's not what's going to create the polarity. That's not going to create the attraction. That's not what is going to create the juiciness between you two. It's going to be you bringing yourself as a woman and him bringing himself as a man. Number 3, men like to be updated, not taught. Okay, when women are information gatherers. We love gathering information. We love learning new things. We love understanding new things. And some of us make the big mistake of trying to teach our man instead of update him. I did a whole video on how to update a man. It's on my YouTube. So if you don't know how to update a man, you need to go and look at that video in its entirety so you can learn how to update a man. Because a lot of you all have crossed that boundary from teaching, from updating to teaching. And that is the reason why you're killing your polarity, because you're sitting over here like a school teacher. You've learned some new things, and now you're trying to guide him through that. Instead of you keeping that juicy polarity as woman, you begin to become his peer. So no, he doesn't see you the same, because now you've stepped into the shoes of his peer as a man to man, and you're having that type of relationship versus a woman to man. Men don't want to be taught by you; they want to be updated by you. Like, let's say, for instance, if you go out here and you're exercising, you're learning all about calories and how to lose weight. You're learning about how to get the weight off and lose fat, and you're so excited about the information. If you update him about the things that you're doing, but you don't cross that line of teaching him and trying to explain to him, this is how you know about calories, this is how the exercise is supposed to be done, this is how it's supposed to be done. You don't cross that line, you can keep your polarity and attraction. But you don't want to cross that line into becoming his teacher versus just updating him on new things. Men lose attraction to women who change their values, personality, and interests for him. There have been so many women who have twisted themselves up into pretzel to change their values, change their interests, change their personality, change their way of dress just to interest a man. And men recognize when a woman is willing to change herself to that level, there isn't anything unique about that said woman. That loses attraction, because most men want to get into a relationship with a woman and they want to know that she isn't easy to hide. He literally want to chuckle when other men look at you with attraction and lust, and he want to chuckle to say and think about the fact that it wasn't easy to get you, so they can never have you. But if you're the type of woman that as soon as a man comes along and you're attracted to him, you lose yourself within that attraction. You lose how you dress, you lose your values, you lose your interests, you lose your personality, and you do everything that you can to be attracted to just that man. And then he knows that he can easily lose you to the next man that you're attracted to. So that is the reason why you lose attraction and polarity when you start doing the things or changing yourself to become something that you think that he may like. And let me give you an example of this, because I think this is the easiest example to understand, because women do this all the time. Women will have a value that she will not have sex before any type of commitment, but then she goes and jumps into bed with him. See, the thing is, he may take advantage of that. He may decide to sleep with you because you're giving it away. You're allowing it to happen. But he will lose attraction and lose the idea of wanting to propose to you, because you're just like every other woman. You've already decided to forsake your values for a man. And most men that want to be married, they want to be married to that woman that he can really chuckle when other men approach her, that she isn't easy to get. That he already knows that it's not no Tom, Joe, or Dick's gonna come around and it's gonna be to scoop you up just because you're attracted to him. So I'm going to go ahead and end Instagram. If you want to, oh, I forgot. I did not complete the link. I did not complete the link for Instagram for you all to come over here. But if you click my bio, it will take you over to YouTube. And it will take you to the most current video, because I want to focus in on the next couple of things that I have for behaviors that kill attraction with high quality men. I don't want to be distracted. So I'm going to go ahead and close out Instagram. Thank you, Instagram, for being here. I appreciate you for following me and supporting the content. And I will see you all on the next one. All right. So now we can really focus and get right into it. But men lose attraction to those women. Like, think about it. How many times you see on social media where the men are yelling at the top of their voice about wanting to have that woman that is willing to just put them at the center. But what happens, they're not attracted to those women because it's at a DNA genetic level that they wouldn't be attracted to those women. So, and we're going to go into more detail about that. But men lose attracted to those women. They lose attracted to those women who no longer have any value just because he is with her. They no longer have a personality just because he is with her. They no longer have interest because he's with her. So he loses attraction and polarity to her, and she's wondering what happened. She's like, why isn't he wanting to take me on dates? Why isn't he wanting to spoil me anymore? Why isn't he sexually attracted to me anymore? Because of the fact that you changed your entire being for him, and he noticed. And then he clocked it, and he realized that if another man comes along that she is highly attracted to, she may do the same thing and she may dump him. So that is number 4. Number 5, complaining that there aren't any quality men available. Let me say that again. Stop going on dates, complaining to men that there aren't any quality men available. Because the more that you let a man know that there aren't any quality men available, he already knows that you don't have any options. You don't have anybody pursuing. It's just like if you go and buy ice cream and you have small children, all the small children are going to want the ice cream because the ice cream is available. Okay, but if you take it away, no one's concerned about the ice cream. But what women do, they go on dates and they complain that there aren't any quality men, that there aren't any good men left. And then when you do that, he already knows that he can put you on rotation because you don't have any options. And you're shooting yourself in the foot when you're dealing with men, when you're complaining about men to a man. So you should never go on dates complaining to him about your dating life or how men have treated you. You always want to keep the energy as though men have always treated you well, that you've always had a fun and good time with men, versus men are not treating me well. I am not going on quality dates. I am not meeting quality men. So you want to not complain about men to a man that you are currently dating. That's number 5. Number 6, men aren't your center. Didn't I say I was going to come back to this? But this is an important point. Men on social media are constantly talking about being the center for a woman. And I think they've never experienced it. They've never been experienced being the center for a woman, because any healthy man would never want to be the center for a woman. Because when a man has to be the center for a woman, that means that man becomes her God. And this means, and since God is spirit and not human, an actual man has to deal with a woman's disappointment. And a man cannot deal with a woman's disappointment. And he cannot deal with the pressure that comes with being a woman's center. This means he has to be everything to her. That's too much pressure for a man to have. He has to be her best friend. He has to be her father. He has to be her emotional support. He has to be any and everything that he can to her. And that is too much pressure. So men are not meant to be your center. So you should not go in to dating or marriage or any type of commitment and put a man as your center. When you do so, you put too much pressure on man, and this will kill the polarity and the juiciness in the attraction, because there's too much on his shoulders. There's too much for him to bear. That is the reason why I believe in God and I have a relationship with God, that I don't have to put that pressure on my husband to be something that God is to me. Because when you do that, he is nothing but a man. He is nothing but a human being having a spiritual experience just like I am. He does not have the ability or the capacity to handle the pressure that God can take. So when you make a man thinner, he will run away from that, or he'll just screw it up so grand and in such a grand style, in such a grand way, that you won't even trust a man again. Men aren't meant to be your center. Never establishing men as your center. And that is number 6. That type of behavior, that type of energy, I don't care what men are saying on social media, because there's so many women on social media also that are encouraging women to make a man a center, and they are not even dating each other. They're not interested in each other. If you haven't noticed, those men and women who are calling for men to be center, they aren't dating each other, and that is for a reason. That's because men, even if it's at a subconscious level, they do not understand what comes with being the center, and they do not want to be the center. Like, so do not, that is one of the things that is being promoted on social media that I definitely have to push back on, because it's not realistic, and it kills polarity and it kills attraction. And it's something that men, once they do receive that, they will run away screaming. They will be burdened under the pressure, and they cannot really perform in the manner that they should perform, because they are your center. They can't handle it. That's what I'm saying. They cannot handle being the center. Don't make a man your center. Number 7, treat him great, but treat yourself better. I've never, ever advocated for you to treat men horribly. That is not that page. There's plenty of pages that talk about treating men horribly, but I understand if I treat my man great, I just need to treat myself better. I know so many women who treat their men like kings, but treat themselves like peasants. They will go in and they'll give him the treatment of romance him and take care of him, but they won't take care of herself. They won't go to the spa. They won't go and make sure they are taken care of mentally, physically, and emotionally. They do everything for him and do nothing for themselves. So when you're supposed to treat men great, you're supposed to treat him like a king, but you're definitely supposed to treat yourself better than a queen. You're not supposed to treat him so good, but dismiss the things that you need, or the things that you require, or the things that you need in life. So you treat him great, but you treat yourself better. Number 8, mothering energy is an attraction killer. And some of this starts in the very beginning. I've met women who are like, well, maybe I should be sending him a text to confirm the date. No, that's stepping into mothering energy. That man is not your child. As soon as you start treating a grown man like a child, you're killing your polarity and your attraction. Even the very beginning, if a man wants to date you, let him send the courtesy text, let him send the courtesy call, the reminder that you all have a date. You don't have to go ahead and send that out to him to make sure he remembers. If a man is warning you and he feels deeply about you and he wants to go on a date with you, he will remember. He will not forget, and he will send a courtesy text or a courtesy call to confirm the date. You don't have to do that. So when you step into mothering energy, this is stepping into a place of him being your child. And anytime I've met women who step in the place of mothering energy and start treating their husband like their child, they also start to experience mothering guilt. They start feeling guilt surrounding asking him to do things, or asking him to take care of things, or asking him to be something for her. She can't even ask him for anything, because she starts to feel somewhat guilty, because she feels that she should be able to handle everything as the mother. So mothering energy is very dangerous in relationship, in any type of dating. So you do not want to put yourself in that position or bring that type of energy while you're dating, mating, and marrying. And that's number 8. Number 9, I keep running across this one. This one is highly important. I think you've heard this one over and over. It's nothing new. Emotional control. Emotional control is so important. Men like natural chaos that women bring in their feminine energy. But when a woman is being controlled and led by her emotions, this kills attraction. This means she can wake up one day and she's very sad, and she takes her sadness out on everybody. Or she can wake up one day and be very depressed and takes her depression out on everybody. Or she can be angry and takes her anger out on everybody. She doesn't have any emotional control. She doesn't process her emotions. She doesn't utilize her emotions to level up. She just lets her emotions lead her, and she does or acts out in ways that she would never act out if she was thinking. And see, when a woman doesn't have emotional control, she cannot stick to any type of strategy. Any type of strategy is going to be left to the wayside, because her emotions are going to take over, and she's going to do things without thinking. So emotional control, the lack of it, kills polarity and attraction. it kills that juiciness that you can have with another person. Because if they're too busy picking up the pieces because you don't have any emotional control, you just go fly off the handle, you just say wild things, you just do things because of based off how you're feeling, then you're not going to be a good energetic match for a healthy man. Now, some of you might be like, well, I don't have emotional control and my husband is still here. But have you, if you do some self-reflection and you reflect back, then maybe he is not as healthy as you think. Because men that have something to lose, they want women who have emotional control. And then if you're trying to be a winner in this game of life, then you have to have emotional control, because emotional control is going to help see you through strategy, because you can't have a strategy and emotions. They kind of don't go hand in hand. You have to know how to think your way and do things that's going to help you follow through in your strategy. But if you don't have, you lack emotional control and you just fly off the handle because you feel in a certain way, you're going to kill any type of strategy that you have. And it does require strategy in life to win. This is how you win the game of life, is having strategy. Because life is a bunch of choices and decisions and things that you do. And if you don't have any type of strategy, you're not playing the game of life, because you can't get your emotions under control. You can't get yourself under control, then you won't win the game of life. And that's number 9. So number 10, which is my final one, and then I'll go into the comment section and we'll have the conversation. Okay. I'm literally not even answering questions until the end. Number 10, unrealistic standards and expectations kill attraction and polarity. Right now, we're living in a time where standards and expectations are romance level. Like, if you've ever read a romance, I want you to comment down in the chat, because that's so important. Or if you watching the replay, comment that you've read a romance, because now that is the level of what standards and expectations are for women. This is what our standards and expectations are looking like now. Here we have a handsome 6', 6-pack man, and he's driving his Jaguar. He's on the bad side of town. And he pulls into the gas station. Oh, guess what? He forgot his car. He doesn't have any cash. And guess what? The thing to pump gas doesn't take cards. So he has to go in and pay. So he goes in, he goes to pay, and here's the cashier. The cashier, she's 5'2", and she's overweight, and she has beautiful eyes. And he walks through the door and he instantly falls in love with her. And he wants to pursue her, give her everything. He's ready to sign over his life and ready to get married today. That is the level of standards and expectations that we have now that are totally unrealistic. Now we have that level of standards and expectations. I think that's due to social media, because we're able to see other people's lives, and we're able to see what other people have, who other people are dating, how other people are living. And now we're equating our standards to theirs. But we're not looking at the minute details, the little things that make up our standards and expectations. And so now we're coming up unrealistic. And so we have to really become self-aware so we can make sure that our standards and expectation are realistic to what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to have in life. Because when you come on dates and you have unrealistic expectations, you expect this man to put millions on the table and to take you away and get you married today. That is unrealistic. Or we have standards where we forget that the man, the type of men that we want to date, they also have things that they're requiring from women. So yes, he may have a 6-pack, but he also is wanting a woman who actually is somewhat pretty healthy. He wants a woman who's actually open to eating a certain lifestyle or eating a certain way. So we have to self-reflect and look at our standards to make sure they're not unrealistic. We want to get our standards down for being romance level and get them down to where we can have the things that we want versus having something that's unattainable. Why would you want to not win in life? Create standards and expectations that are attainable, that something that we can have, versus something that is romance level or movie level, where it's something that's a 1 in a million thing that can happen. Because guess what? A man that's rich driving on the bad side of town is actually unrealistic, because most of those men, half the time, they don't even be on the other side of town. They know where they go and get their things. They know where they go and buy things. It's like a 1 in a million times that he's going to be on the bad side of town. he's usually going to stick to his own routine and his own community. So we have to have our standards and our expectation. They need to become realistic. Y'all have to make them realistic so that you can get the things that you want. I know social media shows you so many different standards you can pick from and so many different things that you can have. But you need to look at your own life and see where you are. And if you're not where you can even obtain these things, then you need to at least do the work to put yourself in position. Some of us are not even willing to put ourselves in position to obtain those things, but we want those things because we see them. And so let me go in and I'm gonna jump in the chat and answer the questions. But those are my 10 things that these behaviors really kill attraction and polarity and the juiciness that you can have with a man. Hey, Daisy. Hey, Bethany. Can someone post the other 5 I just got here? Oh, you can always, when you just come in at the end of a video, you can always just go back and it will continue to play as though I'm live until you get to the end. Okay. Hey, Lily, yeah, sounds like those Hallmark Christmas movies. And that's how women are starting to look at or have standards for or expectations. That's the reason why we see women on social media who are going on first dates and they're getting money from men. And now women have this expectation that he's going to give me money when he go. But then you don't even know what type of man she's dating. You don't even know what the situation is. You don't even know what the agreement is. And since social media is just a hodgepodge of content creators coming from all walks of life, you have women who are sugaring, you have women who are escorting, you have women who are prostituting, you have women who are spoiled wives, you have women who are just single girlfriends. You have so many women coming from different walks of life that you're not even questioning. Okay, why should my standard look like hers? Instead of you taking on that standard because it looks good. Social media shows us so many different lives, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you get access to different lives so that you can know what other things exist. Because that helped me too to see what was possible. But the horrible thing about that is when you're not willing to do anything and put yourself in position. So you want to date these type of men, but you've never even been asked out by that type of man. You don't even work near that type of man. You don't even be in the room of that type of man. So if you're not in the room, you don't work with them, you've never been asked out with them, why is he your standard? Why is he your type? So that is the reason why you have to become more realistic so that you can get married, so that you can get rid of and get out of this echo chamber of dating and mating and marrying, that you can get out of this your single girl era and step into your spoiled wife. How do we stop getting emotionally attached early on just by dating multiple people at the same time? Well, Bethany, that is something that most women utilize the dating multiple people, so not get emotionally attached. My thing is this: one of the things that kept me, and I didn't have access to the internet when I first got started. I started dating multiple people because I pretty much gave everything the middle finger. I was no longer going to do it like everybody else. I was going to do it like my parents did, like my ancestors did, like the women in my family did. And I wasn't going to be caring about being judged for it. So I decided to date multiple people and have a rotation. Regardless of what people were saying or how people saw it, I did not care at the time. One of the things that kept me grounded was my question to myself. I would ask myself, has he changed my life or did he save my life? If he hasn't done one or the other, there is no reason to get attached. And I never qualified him taking me on a date or giving me experiences or really gelling, really vibing together. I never counted that. I really looked at, did this man change my life? Has he changed my life by dating me? Has he saved my life? Or did he pull me out of a pond? Did he restart my heart? What did he do for me that would give me that a level of admiration for me to admire him to that level? I just kind of kept myself grounded because I already knew that I wasn't every man wasn't going to be my husband. I knew that I'm going into the situation. Every man wasn't going to be my husband. I was going to meet a variety of men and I was going to see how it goes. And see, that's also another reason why it's so important that women kind of don't let a man ever become the center. Like he isn't your center. He isn't your God. You can't become emotionally attached if he hasn't done it. He hasn't changed your life or saved your life. You can't become emotionally attached when he isn't your God. And you can't become emotionally attached if you have a life. So if you don't have a life, you buy a life and you get a life. If you do those things, it will keep you from falling head over heels for this man who hasn't done anything for you. But inner work is going to be key to making sure you don't get emotionally attached, because you have to understand the nature of woman. The nature of woman, we can get attached by spending a lot of time with him. Like, you can get attached by having an emotional connection to a man. You can get attached by having a conversation every day on the phone with the man. So you understanding your nature will help you keep you grounded. So that's the reason why it's so important that you pay attention to my page. Make sure you also like the video while you're in here. Pay attention to this page, because I teach you the nature of woman, so that you don't get caught up, because you understand your nature. What counts as him changing my life? I stopped smoking weed. I've lost weight because he inspired me to be healthier, but our communication is really hit and miss. And I find myself sad when I think about it. My thing is this: it sounds like he did some great things for your life, but baby, he didn't save your life. He didn't save your life. He didn't restart your heart. He didn't pull you out of a pool where you were drowning. He didn't save you from a car crash. He didn't do anything that's gonna like he didn't put you into a new business. He didn't put you into a new house. He didn't put you into a new car. He did some things to keep you dating him, but he didn't do anything to create this level of commitment that you have to him. Nothing I'm showing in the conversation. Unless he did something else, I just don't see it. Only thing he's done was inspire you with words and communication, which that is another thing that hits our nature very hard when we get a man who can do that. Then we feel some kind of emotional connection to him. We feel that he's a hero, that he's done more than he has. Like, has he put you in a new social network where you can call people or get some type of assistance? Has he put you in a place where you can start a new business? Has he put you in a place where you have new friends coming into your life? When you look at your entire world, has it shifted? I think you need to level this out. Look at the things, like, he's done enough for you to date, but he hasn't done enough for you to admire for commitment. What do you do when you only have one you're dating and don't have a rotation and don't want to get attached? You're only, I think I gave I answered that. So I'm gonna say it again. If you're only dating one man, that means you got to get a life or buy a life. You got to make sure you have a life, an active life happening. You got to make sure you don't put him at the center. You got to make sure you don't treat him better than you treat yourself. Excuse me. So you got to make sure that you are focused in and putting yourself at the center right now, so you don't get attached. You have to understand the nature of woman. The nature of woman is we get the words from a man can tickle our ears and inspire us, and that can create some type of connection. Like, we feel like we are beholden to that man, or we feel like he's our hero. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to make sure that you keep in mind, and you don't put him above all of the things or expectation that you have for yourself. Like your purpose, your dreams, your visions, you don't put him above that. You focus more in on that, because you only have one man that you're dating. I feel like a lot of men on dating apps are very negative about dating. How do we stay motivated when we see a lot of the same garbage attitude? The thing is, you have to stay motivated. Motivation comes with the end, not from without. It doesn't. It's not external. It's not an external thing. You have to keep yourself motivated by not allowing the negativity to penetrate your positivity. So you have to take time for yourself every single day to pour into you. That's the reason why it's so important that women learn to not allow other people to become your center. See, I put myself on a pedestal, but God is my center. So that helps me to make sure I kind of stay grounded in positivity. I continue to pour into myself, because I know that God wants more for me and he expects more out of me. So you have to do that work of motivation. You have to create things that's going to motivate you and keep yourself motivated. It is not a man's job, just like it's not a man's job to keep you happy. Happiness is an inside job. It's an internal job, not a one that a man is supposed to do for you. You're supposed to be happy, and then he adds to it. You're right, because he hasn't really changed my life. I changed my life myself. Yes, you did that. Yeah, like it sounds as though it's woman's nature, though. We're inspired by what we hear, and so you're giving him credit because he inspired you to do those things. But you put one foot in front of the other, and you improved your life. Give yourself that credit. Don't put him as the center. Men in person also have a negative mindset. If a man has a negative mindset, he isn't my man. I would never allow a person who has a negative mindset to come in and to infect my positive mindset. That's the reason why it is so hard to be with someone who has a negative mindset. If you have a pretty positive mindset, a pretty positive way in which you carry yourself, in a pretty positive way of perspective of life and the way it's supposed to be, then you don't want to be or connect or be with someone who has a negative mindset. And if you're around negative people, a like attracts like. This means that you have a negative mindset and you probably haven't acknowledged it. If a man is, if you feel interested in a man who has a negative mindset, there's something in him that you like. I don't think he changed you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. She changed herself. Give yourself the credit. Give yourself the credit. But behaviors that kill that attraction, that juiciness that man and woman have when they meet is because a lot of times women try to be something that they are not in order to attract that man. They try to put that man at the center when a man cannot handle the responsibility of being the center. That is the reason why there is, I believe in a God, and I believe that there is a God because I know that there is no one that can handle the responsibility or pressure that it takes to be God, and no human being can. And keeping that mentality, that idea, has been able to help me and my husband to really evolve and grow as a couple. When meeting men, most say the dating pool is bad. Women have the same opinion. I personally don't feel like that. And you shouldn't. I'm telling you, I don't care if a man says, oh my gosh, I've had so much trouble dating. All these women are horrible. You can be like, interesting. Because that's giving him the signal that you haven't had that experience. You don't have to tell him you're dating multiple men. You don't have to tell him that everything is easy. You don't have to tell him that you're dating a lot of men. Only thing you need to do is, that's interesting. But never play into that. Never complain to men about to a man, because men will put you in rotation when they feel like you don't have any options. When they feel like that there's no one pursuing or chasing you, because men trust each other's opinion. Men trust each other's opinion. Now, women may not trust each other's opinion as much as men do. But if other men are looking at you and they're wanting you and desiring you, more men will desire and want you because other men desire and want you. They will want the ice cream too, just because other people want the ice cream too. So you don't want to indicate that the dating pool is bad or that you've been having problems meeting high quality men. You want to like, oh, that's interesting. You want to give him that indicator that, hey, I'm having a great time out here. I'm having fun. Like, it's easy for me. Do you tell them you are dating others if they ask? No. You don't have to tell men that you're dating other men anyway, because men are gonna assume that. And men are like, y'all have to realize men are also they are human beings having a spiritual experience also. So if your energy is always going towards your hobbies, your friends, your family, your interests, the things that you are, your purpose, your vision, they can feel that, and they're going to feel that your energy is being taken away from them. And a lot of men will just assume that it's other men. So you don't have to ever tell him that I'm dating other men. He is going to assume that and feel that, as long as you're not over there constantly thinking about what is he doing? Has he text me back? When is he going to text me? When is he going to call? If you're not doing that, he won't get that ping. But he will get that ping from you when you're constantly thinking about him in that mental energy, in that mental realm, where you're constantly thinking about what he's doing, why hasn't he texted me, why hasn't he called me, and he can feel your pursuit. So you don't ever have to tell men. You don't even have to play the foolish games that they tell you on social media. Those games are only for women who don't have a life. That's the reason why I am so telling you over and over, if you don't have a life, get a life, buy a life. Because when a woman doesn't have a life, then she has to play that game. When you have a life, these things can happen naturally. It's naturally, if I have a life and I'm constantly investing and pouring the energy into my own purpose, into my own vision, into my own life, I'm naturally going to miss your phone call, sir. I'm naturally going to text you back later. It's a natural thing. But when I don't have a life, I'm going to have to pretend to wait some time to text you back. So that's the reason why I tell you all the time, have a life, get a life, because men will assume that you're dating multiple men, even if it's just you pouring into your own vision, even if it's just you pouring into yourself. But these behaviors that women display, they kill attraction with high quality men. When women are so out of control emotionally, and I have no problem with emotions. I feel like I'm an emotional girl, but I also understand that emotions are for me. They're for my level up. If I'm feeling some type of way, and instead of me just dealing with my emotions and working through them, I just go and just throw them off on you. I don't get the benefit of my emotions. So that's the reason why emotional control is so important, because if you don't have emotional control, you can't have a strategy. Because if you're feeling something deeply, you may just go do something off the rails because how you feel. So emotional control is not attractive. We already have natural chaos. So if you add the lack of emotional control to your natural chaos that women bring, then you're dealing with something very chaotic, and high quality men that have something to lose will not want to go any further with you. They may be excited by the energy, and because they feel like it's going to relate over to sex, but they're not going to be excited to put a ring on your finger. Um, what do you tell them if they ask if you're dating other men? If you're dating other men, and if you follow my platform, I've always taught women to tell them, I am dating until my husband finds me. You don't have to ever clarify, because this lets him know until your husband finds you, you're not going to be locked into any type of commitment. You don't, that's all you have to tell them. You don't have to say, hey, I'm dating other men until I'm married. I am dating until my husband finds me. Every time he asks, that's gonna let him know what he needs to know without you saying it. What is too big of an age gap? I'm 26. Mm, too big of an age gap for you would be if you dated a 63-year-old man. I think you can get by without getting to a 63-year-old man. I know that seems to be popular, but you all know that that's just the exception. Social media loves to push the exceptions off on us and make us believe that that is the normal. That is not the normal, because I'm starting to come across these 20-year-olds being married to a 60-year-old, and that's not normal. That actually they actually have increased uh they it's a increased highness of divorce for that age group. So I would think the more appropriate age is like a 5 to 7 gap. 20 is pushing it, but 20 is still more acceptable than 30 to 40. Do men tell us they're dating other women while they're dating us? No, they keep the game close to the chest, so remaining mystery is the route I go. Yes, absolutely, they do not tell us. But we assume, right? Like, if you don't, you should. You should assume that he's dating other women if you're not. Yeah, I'm dating till my husband finds me. Because when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So you're dating till your husband finds him. And it also gives him the idea that you're still looking, because you didn't say, hey, I'm dating till you propose. You didn't say anything like that. So he already knows that you're dating till your husband finds you. But behaviors that kill attraction with high quality men that women display, not even with the lack of emotional control, it's also the unrealistic standards and expectations. I think that continues to grow. And it's almost like watching a Hallmark movie or reading a romance novel. Like, and I'm all for romance novels, but I also know that a lot of things that happen in romance novels do not relate over to reality. And I think it's a good way to dream, right? Especially if you've never seen a healthy relationship, you've never even seen your mother get romanced by a man, you've never seen any of that play out. So a romance novel is a good insight or outlook to what romance or things that you might want, but it's not a good thing to base your standards and expectations on. And I see that happening over social media because we look into a stranger's life and we see the things that they're requiring and the life that they're living, but we don't know the minute detail. We don't know the details. We don't know the players. We don't know the context. I was getting to know someone 51 or so. We had so many things in common. Spoke over the phone several times, met up for wine and smoothies on different occasions, never a official date. Okay. Yeah, because it's I don't want to say age isn't a number because it's not correct. Because the older he is, the less in common you may have, and having some things in common is actually very important. Like having some things in common, such as music or trends and things that you know of that generation, is so important to marriage. So that's the reason why you don't want to go too far out where y'all don't even have anything. Y'all don't have any common, no commonalities, no common ground. You want to be careful there. I run into so many men who are turned off by me still dating. I don't care, but not sure why. You shouldn't care. The thing is, y'all have to understand this is actually a natural thing. I don't even get mad at men for something that's natural to them, and you shouldn't either. Men are very territorial. They want to, even when men are playing or being playing at being poly, right? When they're playing at being poly, you will notice that they don't want any of those other women to be or date outside of the relationship, but they want to keep those women in the relationship and dating no one else but them. So men, it's natural to a man to want to be territorial, but that doesn't mean we need to change anything unless he's willing to make a commitment. He asked the successful owner to show me how to make an Etsy store and going into the new transportation business with, but something just feels like he isn't that intimate. And you should trust your intuition. Your intuition is top tier. Pay attention to it. There's something that you're picking up that he hasn't said, or something you're picking up that you don't know. So I'm always going to tell women, I believe you first. Pay attention to your intuition. Your intuition is highly important. I'll never forget when I paid attention to my intuition and made sure that I didn't have a disastrous relationship because I had a guy when I was dating. He was everything. He checked off all of the things off the list, right? But what happened was there was something that still fell off. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get over it. No matter what. Even I didn't even want to be alone with him because something fell off. And I'm glad I didn't because he literally went to jail for rape. He really went to jail for raping a woman. And something, my intuition is so strong and so connected that I couldn't even be alone with him because I felt uneasy. So pay attention to your intuition. If something's off, something's off. Why do men not want to wait for sex until marriage? Because we live in a world now that they don't have to. If I was giving away free money, everybody would get in line to get the free money because people love free things. That is the same thing with sex when it comes to men. Men are not waiting because they don't have to wait. It's not a requirement any longer. Women are giving that way for free. Hi, bro. What's a reasonable timeline for a man to shift your life? The thing is, there is no timeline. There is no timeline to this. I don't want some of these things, some of these concepts, there is no timeline because it is not logic. It is literally just intuition and being able to see his energy constantly coming towards you. Like you want to see the improvement of your life as you continue to date this person. You want to continue to see it get better and better because there isn't a timeline that I can necessarily give you. That would be like saying within 2 months, he needs to be doing this for you. Within 3 months, he needs to be doing that for you. And I can tell you that that is not how life works. It doesn't work that way. So there isn't necessarily a timeline that you need to see. You need to just be paying attention to, is he coming towards me constantly? Is he coming towards me to get to know me? Is he coming towards me to support me in my vision and my purpose and the things that I'm trying to accomplish? Is he coming towards me to assist me? Is he coming towards me to be there for me? Is he coming towards me to encourage me? You want to consistently see that. And you want to constantly see your life shift, getting better and better and better. If you were to evaluate your life after a year, right? And you look over the year of you and his relationship, which I would tell you now, if you're, listening to me, I would never tell you to be with this man for too long if he ain't popped the question. But that's neither here nor there. Let's say you look over the year with him, and you look in your year review of this man, and you can't see or point out where your life is getting better with him. You can't see where your life is improving with him. You can't see where it's worth it to be with him or it's of value to be with him. Then you need to let him go. But there is no timeline. I can't even give you a timeline. I just want you to consistently see your life being improved by him being in it. Oh my God, I love your hair. Thank you. We met at church. I'm a singles group. He comes off as an honest man. I felt like he was really trying to put me on game, but why no official dating? More so, hey, can you meet up? The thing is, if he's not making a move in the direction of dating, then he isn't your man. Let me explain something to you all. Technology, like this information, this is the reason why people hate when I say this, but everything ain't supposed to be on social media. That's the reason why I don't put all my content on social media. That's the reason why some of it is behind a paywall. And it's not because I just got to get all the coins or I got to get the exchange. It's not that. It's because of the fact that some information really wasn't meant to be on social media. And now you have older men thinking that they are the prize, that they can do some of the things I've seen young men do. That most older men should understand, and they do understand, that they are supposed to pay because they're with a younger woman. But if you're on social media, you're in these spaces hearing about how these men are getting women for free, you think you're supposed to get some of that. You think you're not supposed to take your own date. You think you're not supposed to take your own experiences. You think you're not supposed to treat her. So y'all have to be very careful with that. That maybe he's thinking that way. And I wouldn't focus more in on him. I would actually focus in on someone else who's actually pouring more into me, who's actually improving my life and investing in me. And he's doing it in a way that I can see it. I can feel it. I feel good around him because not only is he pouring into me and encouraging me, he makes me feel good as a woman. Not only is he teaching me and I'm learning new things around him, he's inspiring me to take action. Like if you're not seeing these shifts and he's not doing any of these things, but he's requesting more of you, then you need to, the flag needs to go up. There's an issue, there's a problem. And I love internet. I love the fact that it gives me the opportunity to build a community and connect with women. But I also hate the fact there's so much information available. Because all the information available, just like you all are receiving information, men are also. So now if you see certain tricks, you need to be aware of them and be like, okay, like why isn't a old man? Because he's 51, baby. You said he's 51, right? Let me make sure and go back up here to chat. Because I think you said he's 51 years old and you're 26 years old. You are the prize by definition. And you're the prize by definition. You're the woman. Why isn't he immediately stepping into the role of treating you and taking you out and giving you and y'all having experiences and him impressing you? Those things aren't happening because he's trying to move in a way where he's trying to get it for free. He's trying not to have to do too much work. He's trying not to do the things to impress you. Are you saying he was married? So was he divorced? Is he divorced? He's divorced, right? So I'm just gonna say he's divorced also. So that means he knows how to propose and possibly know how to treat a woman. He's older. I'm gonna tell you, like I told a young lady before, I said, old men don't get free sugar. Old men don't get free sugar. Like there's a tax that is added the older he gets. If you have to accept an old man, this means he has to come and set you correct. So I wouldn't be giving as much energy to him because he's trying to move as though these young men move, and he doesn't have the opportunity. He lost the opportunity because of the age, and because you're not going to stand for it also. But he lost that opportunity. So he's a divorced 51-year-old man trying to get the experience and energy from a young woman for free. That doesn't even sound right to me. That something sounds off. That feels off. He don't really have time to waste either. Like that's the reason why older men kind of move a lot faster, because they didn't have any time to waste. He already has one foot in the grave and one foot on the banana peel. He doesn't have time to constantly play games. But if you get on his social media, men like himself, men like that, can get up here and start getting information and ways to treat women so they can get the things that young men are getting. Does the age thing apply to women too? What do you mean? How does it apply to women? What do you mean? How does it apply to women? Because a woman at any age can be the young woman. A woman at any age can be the young woman. I would never marry a man my age. My husband is a year and a half older than I am. Like you never marry a man your age. Always marry a man a little bit older. That way you always the young, pretty little thing. Now, if you're trying to date young men, go ahead and pull out your pocketbook. Go ahead and be sugar mama. My confidence has went down after hearing social media talk so now on single mamas. I date older men, typically no older than 40. Do not allow the social media to trick or deceive you. Trust and believe single mothers are still getting married at the same rate as single women. They are still getting married. Men are still taking on being stepdaddy. They're still doing the things that they did back in the day. So stop listening to social media. Y'all gotta stop being influenced by what you see on social media, because a lot of this is about clicks and views. It's all. I literally went to a wedding where one of my clients, she had 6 kids. He had 2. She got married. So stop listening to these podcast pros and these men on social media telling women that you're done because you are a single mama. My mother was a single mother and she still had proposals. She never was interested in marriage. She turned all of the proposals down. And she had professionals. I'm not talking about scrubs. I'm not talking about bums proposing to her. And she had 5 kids. It was doctors, it was accountants, it was professional men proposing to her. But she's never been interested in marriage. It just wasn't her thing. She's like a free spirit. She's like the only woman in my family that got married. She just was never interested in it. And so stop listening to these people. If I were you, I would go down my feed and I would block every person who's telling me that as a single mother, I can get married. I would block them all, because real life has taught me differently. Real life, real experience, I've seen with my own 2 eyes with women who can have 5, 6, 7, 10 kids get married to a man. So that is not the issue. The issue is you need to build your confidence up so you can step as though that you're the prize and that you're deserving of this being taken care and provided for. I agree. If you're in your 40s, if you're in your 40s, you just married someone that's 5 to 7 years older than you, and you're the young pretty thing. Like you're the young pretty thing. And I have videos too where I teach you how to keep that energetic gap of being the young pretty thing, even if he's only a year older than you. He's always going to see you as this young, pretty young thing. It doesn't matter about your age. If you step into your feminine energy, you're always going to be playful and fun and giggly. And that's going to always give him this image or idea that you're younger than him. There's ways to create that energetic gap and make a man feel like you're just this young, naive young woman but you have to step into your feminine energy to do so. Like, women don't understand the power of feminine energy. When you step into it, you create the energetic gap, and he will always view you as a young, pretty thing. I'm doing 43. My husband is 45. And he still looks at me as though I'm like really young and naive. He literally, sometimes he even talks to me like that. And I don't get offended because I know it's all about me keeping him in that space of viewing me as she's the young, pretty thing that I have to take care of. If I don't take care of her, who is going to do it? No one. So I have to go and do all the heavy lifting and the hard work. I keep him in that space deliberately. When women forget that space or forget how to keep them in that space because of the relationship or time or how you're feeling, you forget how to keep that space. And that's all men. Men love taking care of women and providing for them. But they want to know that it's going to be appreciated. They want to know it's wanted. They want to know it's something that you desire from them. Oh, maybe not. No, I'm going to play with the mic because I miss my audio when I do that. Hello, ladies. Girl, you look gorgeous. Thank you, Ash. Thanks for answering. I understand him coming closer to me. Do you recommend your membership or a consultation? Been watching your videos and seeing the change in my life, and I want to keep that energy. I absolutely recommend my membership. There's so much content behind the paid wall. I try to give you all so much and give so much value to my community, but there's some things I do keep behind a paid wall for a reason, because I don't want them to know our secrets. Men cannot handle the secrets of a woman. They're not supposed to. I'm gonna tell you, like I told my clients in my inner circle of Pedestal wives, women are supposed to die with the secrets on their lips. That is something I learned from my grandmother. Women, say it with me now. Women are supposed to die with secrets on their lips. Women are telling too much, doing too much, and all in front of social media. You're killing your image. You're killing that energetic gap that makes him, you want to seem harmless. He doesn't need to see you capable of being savage or capable of being, capable of stabbing her in the back or anything. He want to see you as this playful, sweet, young, pretty little thing that is harmless, even though you're that assertive kitten, tiger, if you may want to be called. Like, you want to keep all that here. You want to keep that secret on your lips, but you want to absolutely move in that manner. So then he's like, oh my gosh, not my pretty little kitten, not that pretty young thing, not her speaking up for herself, not her asking for this, not her wanting this. Women are supposed to die with secrets on their lips. You're not supposed to tell everything you know. Please explain about the standards depending on the men you have access to. Okay. And that's a great question. That's a great question because we need to talk about that to make sure I got the time correct because I have an appointment. All right. So standards now are the equivalent of a romance novel. Everyone has, a lot of women have unrealistic standards. When you have standards that are the equivalent to the romance, they're based off something you saw on social media, and you haven't done anything to bridge that gap, to create that space or position yourself, then it's unrealistic. It's the same thing as I want to marry a rich man, but then you don't interact with rich men. You're not wherever rich men are. You don't work near a rich man. You don't even be in the same realm or same space of a rich man. Then that's an unrealistic standard. Unless you're willing to do the work to position yourself. Because this life is not a romance novel. A 6'4", 6 foot, 6-pack rich man is not going to wander into your side of town or break down in front of your house and declare that he is your husband and marry you. That is only romance. So you need to look at your standards and self-reflect and make sure your standards reflect something that you can obtain. And if you're not willing to do the work to obtain a thing, then you need to make your standards so that you can get off this market. This dating market is not for the weak. It is not for the women who lack emotional control. So if you're going to be out here in this dating market, you need to have these standards that fit where you are so you can make things shape. You can make things happen. Be youthful in energy. The men I deal with always say I make them feel like a teenager because I keep them laughing in a bright mood. Yes, absolutely, Ash. Absolutely. That is what I do for my husband. We only have a year and a half gap, but he always gets my age wrong. He always puts my age as 20 years less than him. Just because of the way that I keep that energetic gap for us, I make him feel as though he's dealing with a young, pretty young thing. And then it always surprises him when I come on and I'm like a tiger and I'm like, I want this here. This is what I want. This is what I desire. When I have the balls, the gohands, the ability, the want, the desire, that's what I want. I think 10 to 15 years is ideal. 15 to 20 years is pushing it, but 30 years plus, come on, and the code. Yes. 30 years, y'all. Like I know, like I said, every social media makes things popular. That's the exception. But most 20-year-olds are not willing to deal with someone that's 30 years older than them anyway. Like, most men that are young are not even willing to deal with the man who's 5 years older than them. Even though I'm encouraging them. If you're one of those girls, you're like, I can't do it. He can't be 5 years older than me. I want to be 23 and marry another 23-year-old. Girl, then you're going to have to create the energetic gap. You're going to have to be very strategic in the way that you deal with him, because men still want to be the protector and the provider and the teacher. They still want to be a step in that position or role. But if they feel like y'all are equal, or that you know as much as him, or that y'all are the same, that kills some of that polarity and attraction between you two. So 5 to 7 years, I think that's doable. I think that's a great idea when it comes to the age gap. Or 20 is pushing. Okay, I'm okay with 20. It's pushing, but it's still within that generation, so that y'all have some things in common. It's extremely hot over here. I have a light on. I need to put that extra light off, but it's extremely hot. Can you discuss standards versus what you're accustomed to? I drop men when they don't treat me or provide what I'm accustomed to, but that's a timeline thing. Okay, what do you mean accustomed to? Like, if you're accustomed to it, doesn't that become your standard? Because anytime my husband introduces me to a new experience, that becomes my standards because I've experienced it. If you're accustomed to it, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, because that's your experience. You have already received it or done it before, so that should become your standard. Like, your standards are gonna increase the more experiences that you have. Let's say my husband, I have become accustomed to taking vacations at least 3 times a year or more. Okay, so that has become my standard now. So if I was to get out of this relationship, I would actually require that in the next relationship, because I've already experienced it's a part of my past. So that there's nothing wrong if you become accustomed to it, because you're experiencing. I'm talking about women who haven't become accustomed. They have never experienced it. And then they're not even willing to do anything to put themselves in position so they can experience it. Like, they put it on the level of being a dream. You put it on a level of just dreaming about things that you want to have, or things dreaming about your standards, but you haven't done anything to put yourself in position to make it happen. Faith without work is dead. So you're gonna have to do something to make those things happen. Let's say, for instance, if you're a woman that you've never even dated a man that is a provider, like, are you putting yourself in position so you can be around men that do provide? Or are you sitting down waiting on your provider to arrive? That's an entirely different conversation when it comes to standard. Your standard is a provider, but you haven't ever put yourself in position. You haven't even thought about what providers want or what providers are looking for. You haven't done any of the work so that you can be able to attain that type of standard. That is my beef, my pet pig. How about I say pig? That is my issue when it comes to being unrealistic. So if you drop me in when they don't provide what I'm accustomed to, I think that's fine. Like, I was known as the woman who, I had a literal reputation that if it wasn't going well, I would drop him. And if I felt like he was not the right person for me, I'm gonna drop him. I had that reputation going into when I met my husband, and it actually benefited me too. It benefited me with him Because he was even more intrigued because men are always intrigued by the unattainable. Did I mess up by telling him I was having an emotional day? Listen back about having emotional control. Well, what do you mean emotional day? What does that mean to you? Like, how did you put that? How did you put that? Because the emotional control is so important because it doesn't matter what strategy I give you all on social media. If you don't have any emotional control, you cannot not even complete the strategy. The strategy is going to get the best of you. And that's going to be unfortunate because in order to have a strategy and win at any game, you have to not allow your emotions to take control over you. So your emotions are for you. Now, if you said, well, maybe I'm not feeling so great today. Maybe I call you back later. I don't see anything wrong with that. So it depends on what did you say? How did you say it? I've been putting myself in position. I have met some providers, but nothing has gotten into a relationship engagement. This has been for a year. And give it some time. Like sometimes God saves the best for last. And I heard something so important the other day where you all know I'm a very spiritual person in the first place. I listen to a lot of spiritual content. I probably will eventually at some point create me a whole nother page just for spiritual content because every human problem, there's a spiritual solution. And one thing that I was looking at the other day, and women are all talking about, hey, I'm not meeting the type of guys I'm wanting, I'm not meeting providers. You all don't understand that every woman has a purpose. Every woman has a purpose, and down inside you is a purpose. And sometimes, if a man is going to interfere with your purpose, then it takes time for you to have that type. The man, may come later. So that is the reason why I encourage women to focus in on themselves and put themselves at the center, at the forefront of their lives. Because the more that you do that, the more that you focus in on yourself, becoming a better woman, up leveling yourself, the more that you put yourself in the room of the men that you're supposed to meet. So just because it's been a year, don't give up. Like honestly, I never expected mine to be so fast. When I made a decision, I literally found my husband within 3 months later. But I had been dating prior to that. Okay. But I was just having fun. I was just really cultivating my skills and making sure that I understood men and understood myself and my nature as a woman. And when I really made a decision and put my foot down, that is when I met my husband. Like I guess God, like she's ready now. And then he's like, he put my husband in front of me. Okay, because I be feeling bad just leaving. Feeling bad? What do we mean here? All right, what do we mean here? Like y'all, what do we mean here? That's the reason I'm trying not to give you all timelines because I don't want you to start thinking in a logical way because love is illogical. Love, care, commitment, emotions, all these things are somewhat illogical. It's not something that you could think through. So when it's not something thinking, it's not something logical, I can't give you a timeline to make that happen for you. I can just tell you some of the things you can look forward to. I can tell you how things should look, but I can't tell you, hey, within 3 days, he should be doing this, or 3 months, y'all should be here, or within a year, y'all should be to this level. Yes, to a spiritual page, I like that. That's a great idea because I was thinking about kind of separating them because every human problem, there's a spiritual solution. And I really kind of have a heart for that. And if you actually look at some of my page, I do have some spiritual conversations on my page. I love having them. I've always been somewhat of an intuitive, spiritual person. I'm say sorry. I was over exaggerating when I said I needed more attention. I was having an emotional day. But yes, I would like to talk this week. Okay. You're done. You've already done what you need to do. Okay. Now, when you go into the conversation, instead of you holding the conversation and you talking, allow him to talk and get his feelings out. Don't even instead of you talking about uh getting more attention, don't do that. I think we had this conversation anyway before. Don't do that. Just let him talk And then when he's talking about, hey, I'm ready to talk about this, I want you to say, what do you think about that? Like, how does that make, what do you think about, more attention, or me asking for more attention? Like, let him talk so you get more insight into how he feels and how he sees things. Because what I want you to do is start directing your conversation with him and more to the feminine and masculine dynamic to see if he can hold that position. Because when you step into your feminine, a man can reject being in the masculine because he's more feminine. And you need to know that so you don't put too much more energy into this man. If you step into the feminine and you stay into listening to him and you let him focus in on him think, and then when he tells you what he thinks, and then I want you to say, what does that look like? Like, I want you to keep it going, keep him talking, let him get it all out. Because 9 out of 10, he is thinking certain things about you, and this way you'll get to the nitty gritty of it. Now, in this conversation, you may find that he's into you and that this is a green light for you all to continue to move forward, or you may find that this is a red a stop sign, and that you all may need to stop interacting. And so you don't keep going back in this push and pull or jumping from this masculine and feminine. You can stay in the feminine position, the feminine principle, and let him take on the masculine principle and see how it goes from there. But behaviors that heal attract some high quality men and have them running away. Will men that are high quality still sleep with you, even if these behavior are displayed? Yes, because everybody will get in line for a free lunch. Everybody will get in line with something given to them, even if they don't deserve it or haven't earned it. So he'll still get in line with sex, but he won't get in line to propose. And the whole goal is keep this juiciness and attraction going so that he'll feel illogical about you and want to propose to you and take you off the market. I don't know if I've been very clear about my page, but my page is really focusing on women learning about the nature of man and woman, and then getting the desires of your heart, whether that desire is a commitment or that desire is to become better. He still hasn't texted back, but it's only been a day, and that's pretty normal for him. Absolutely. What did I tell you why he hasn't texted back? Since some of this is he's a human being having a spiritual experience. The more that you focus in on him, the more that he's being pinged that you're focusing in on him. So you really want to take your mind off of him and stop focusing on him. And I want you to focus in on other things that benefit you. Now, maybe you have something that you need to complete, go and complete it. Maybe there's something you want to learn, go and learn it. Maybe there's something you need to go do, go and do it. Maybe there's somebody you need to go see, go and see. But get your mind off of him, because energetically you're pinging him, and men can feel that. They can feel that. Remember, every human problem, there's a spiritual solution. So we want to get into position. We want to look at our standards and make sure, even the things that I tell you all my standards and the things that I have experienced with my husband, I don't tell you that for you to change your standards to fit mine. I tell you that so that you will and understand what you're looking for, so you can create your own standards, so you can get yourself in position, so you can have realistic standards and expectations for men for where you are, not for you to do things that I am doing. My goal is never for you to copy what I'm doing. My goal is for you to take the information that I'm giving to you and maybe being able to take some gems from it and apply to your life so you can up level yourself in your life, in your world, and create from your reality to change the things that you're doing so that you can live the life that you want. And while I'm doing that, remember the Co-Creator Mastermind, we start in January. We start this month. The mastermind starts this month. In that mastermind, you're going to get an insight into how I have never, God has been so good to me that I have never not been able to receive the things that I want. And that may make me sound, that may make me sound somewhat arrogant or an elitist, like I've been called on social media before. But there's nothing that I've taken to God that I have not received. And I'm going to really talk a lot more in detail in the Co-Creator Mastermind of how that works and what that looks like. Because if I want it, I literally have a track record of being able to receive it. So I always have an expectation of wanting, of having it. So anything that I can imagine, anything that I can think about that I want, I can have in this reality, in this realm. And I'm going to talk more in detail on my relationship with God, not only my relationship with God, and how I create from my imagination and have make it my reality. It's not just a dream for me. Nothing is just a dream for me. And I've only had one thing that took some time. And I'll go in detail in the Co-Creator Mastermind of that thing that took some time for me to have. Because, like I said before, every human problem has a spiritual solution. And once I realized what the solution was, I was able to receive that thing. And so a lot of people literally call me lucky. I'm not lucky. I guarantee you, I'm human just like you are. I am a human being having a spiritual existence just like you are. I've just learned how to tune in to a different frequency, to a different vibration in order to receive from God. And I'm an open channel for those things. And since I'm an open channel, God just hands things off to me. And it makes me appear to be lucky when it's just me being in tune. It's just me being. It's just me accepting and being able to put one stiletto in front of the other for him. And so we're going to talk more about that in Co-Creator Mastermind. And there's already one module already released. So there's already content in there, even though class starts January 20th. The link is in the chat if you want to join me. It's going to be a great time. And we're going to have live sessions only with the mastermind. It will not be open sessions. Matter of fact, none of the sessions will be put on social media. Does the first session already happen in your mastermind? No, ma'am. The first session is on January 20th. Let me see. I have it written down on my calendar because I have time set aside just for the first meeting for our mastermind is on the 20th. And it's filling fast. I like intimate spaces, so I don't like a lot of women in these type of classes or masterminds. I like intimate spaces. So once that magic number hits for me, I close enrollment. And then you won't be able to get it until after the entire mastermind is done. But you want to, if you're interested in that, you want to be in that mastermind. That mastermind is for you. If you're like, how did she do it? How does it happen? People have told me that I have unshakable faith, that my faith, once I truly believe in something, God has he has nothing to do but then to hand it off to me because of my faith in it. Do you send out invites for live? Yes. The lives will be over Zoom. They won't be in on social media at all. Is this the unlocking the male mindset or a different one? This is a different one. This is the link is in the chat for the Co-Creator Mastermind. I dropped it in before we started the live stream. It's right here. Let me see if I can pin it. Let's see, maybe I can. Let me drop it down in here again. I'll drop the link down in again. Because if you want to be in that mastermind, it's going to be a great time. Not only is it going to be a great time, it's going to be intimate. So it's not going to be where there's like so many people in the room that you can't have conversation with me. And all of anything that I produce is always interactive. So if anyone has taken anything from me, let everybody know it's always interactive. So it's not like you're going to sit there and listen to me talk and you won't get a chance to ask questions or have conversation back with me. All right, so I'll send it here. It's there. So you're going to want to definitely get in by the 19th. The 19th, you won't be able to enroll because I've had issues in the past where I let it stay up too long and the people try to enroll on the very day that we're going to have our live sessions. And then I might miss them or they may miss a session because of that. So We're not doing that anymore. The enrollment link is going to shut down on the 19th. So if you want to get in, go and get in. It's going to be a good time. Once I get to that magical number of intimacy where I feel like we're at capacity, I'm going to close down that link because I want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to have conversation with me. It's that type of conversation because I think so many women have forgotten. You've forgotten that you are a spiritual leader. You literally stand so close to the spiritual realm that you could literally, you can change the way that you operate. Everything that you touch should turn to gold. But you have to remember that level of faith, that level of spirituality that women carry inherently. It's very deep within all of these things that we know about society, all the things that have happened to us, all of our triggers, all of our wounds. All of that is very deep within us. You are a spiritual leader. You can set spiritual standards in your relationship, which is another conversation that we're going to have in the Co-Creator Mastermind, where you should be setting that spiritual standard and having that connection of faith and be able to create. There's another side of you as a woman that you should be able to create for yourself. You can create nothing from nothing when you connect and you create with God. But a lot of women have forgotten that level of what they bring. I've talked about it over and over on my page, how women are so magical, how they have this connection that we've forgotten. So if we don't have any other questions if we don't have any other questions, we're going to get ready to close out. Remember that these are the behaviors that kill attraction for high quality men. Just because you display these behaviors and you've been able to sleep and go on dates with those type of men, I want you to look at your finger that has no ring on it. That will tell you everything that you need to know. Stop killing the attraction and polarity with men so that men will be chasing you down to propose to you, because they should be. They should be so in admiration of you that they want to chase you down to propose. Very interesting topics that you cover in your mastermind. Thank you for sharing so intro about your program. You're welcome. This is like the first ever. The first ever. At first, I really was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm one of those persons that my connection with God is so strong that if He put something in me, I cannot do anything but get it out. Literally, things will start to happen against the things that I want to create if I don't follow His will. So I have to follow His will, even though I feel like talking about this kind of puts me into this thing of, hey, I'm above or I'm arrogant, but I'm not. I'm not arrogant. I'm not lucky. I'm not different than you. I just have a different level of faith and connection to God. I just have a different level of knowing and intuition. And I just want to help women develop that within themselves, because you are the spiritual standard. You're so close to the spiritual realm. If you get that connection, you can have the Midas touch. Do you remember the story of King Midas, where everything he touched, it turned to gold? That is the level of a woman that should come out of my Co-Creator Mastermind. She should come out with this level of confidence that everything she touched turned to gold. But that it starts with faith before it starts with the action of things turning to gold. You have to develop yourself as woman. And this is coming from a woman who knows herself. I know the good and the bad. One of the quotes I love, but I think people hate this quote because they always be like, oh, it's such an evil quote. It might be the beginning of a song. Y'all have to let me know. I want to know if you've heard this, or is it the beginning of a song, or is it a quote? Because I'm not sure, but it resonates with me. I love it. I think it goes like this. You only met the darkness. I made friends with mine. To me, that is not evil. It just means that I know all of myself. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And I made friends with it. And making friends with it made me powerful. It made me more powerful than you can even imagine. So I love that quote. I don't know if it's a quote. I don't know if it's the beginning of a song. I've heard it somewhere and it just stuck in my head, because I always think about the fact that, hey, because a lot of women are running from it. You're running from you. You're running from your wounds, your triggers, you're running from your hurt, you're running from your pain, you're running from your past. You're running from everything that makes you you instead of making friends with it, instead of making it a part of who you are. And being a part of making it a part of who you are is what makes you so unique. It's what makes you special. But some of you don't think that's what makes you special. Like the stripes that you have because you had babies, you think it's a bad thing. It's what makes you special. It helps get you the knowledge that you have as a woman. It makes you unique. But you don't see it as unique. You see it as something bad. You see it as part of your downfall. And I don't see anything that I've been through, any of my past, any of my triggers, any of my wounds. I don't see it as my downfall. I used to. And when I thought like that, it was hard for me to create the things that I want in my reality. Because it's literally, you're separating yourself from your darkness. You're separating yourself from who you are. And two yous can't operate in the same plane. I'll explain that later. That's like a co-creator mastermind conversation. So we'll talk about that more in a co-creator mastermind. And also, thank you for your life. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's like, I don't even know how that feels so good. Thank you so much. Especially coming from like the oldest of five, where like, I just didn't get that. Being the oldest of five, I had to be the oldest. I didn't get to be the baby. I get to be the baby now. I get to be my husband's baby. I get to be his baby. But I didn't get to be the baby growing up because I was the oldest. I had a lot of responsibility. I agree with you. I think society conditioned us to be perfect, no flaws. Unfortunately, it's not true. You weren't meant to have to be perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. You're so busy trying to chase perfection that you lose yourself in being. And it's in your being that makes you unique. That's what makes you attractive. All right, so we've been up here for a very long time. I appreciate you all for being all the way to the end. I appreciate you all for your support. Make sure you take the time to like the video. And if you want to get into the mastermind, go ahead and secure your spot. I'm going to close the enrollment down on the 19th. And hopefully I'll see you in there. We're going to have so much fun. And I will see you all on the next one. You have a good one.